Welcome to another episode of It's All Mental podcast. My name is Asiat Nakawunde, and with me today is a topic that is an experience that each and every one of us has ever had: grief. To someone who is out there watching me today, there is something that you've ever experienced when it comes to loss. And today I want to talk about that. When we talk about grief, it is one of the universal experience that each and every one of us has ever experienced, but yet it is one of the most misunderstood conversation, because when we are talking about grief, most people tend to think that it's just about loss of a loved one. Well, it's different for many of the people. When we talk about grief, it's mostly about the various things that we lose at a given point in time, and we grieve over them, not only just a loved one, because sometimes people lose things like a job, their health to a disease. Some people lose their financial security. Some people lose a lot of things in regards to the life that they are living every day. And some of those challenges, when they are hard and someone experiences them, then they grieve over those things that they have lost. You as a person who's watching us right now, what is that something that you have lost at one point in time? It could have been a job that you lost. It could have been that loved one, that person that you loved the most. It could have been your health, and you found yourself at one point in time, now you are battling a certain disease. You are no longer healthy, and now you are grieving the life that you lost in regards to health, and now you are battling with a given disease. Take an example of cancer. Some people have TB, others have HIV. Now they are grieving the life that they lost at one point in time, because at one point in time they were really healthy, and now they are really not doing okay. So people lose things like property. You had a car, you had a house, and at one point in time, probably due to a fire, an accident, you lose one of these things. And in one way or another, it affects you. So that process of grieving is what we are talking about today, not just a person losing a loved one. Well, someone would say, I think that person could be exaggerating. How could they be crying over like a bicycle if they lost it? But to that person, it is that thing that is quite very important to them, and that is the reason as to why they are really grieving, because that thing that they lost, it is something that they hold dear to them. When we talk about grief, it is not something that is fixed, that everyone, by the time they experience it, they have to go through it. Well, it's a process that takes time. Many people go through phases of things, especially at that time of loss. Like I said, it is over something that is very dear to that individual. A loved one, a job, their health, security in terms of finances, a lot of things, if are lost, they can cause grief. Well, most of the times people tend to say, these things, you can get over it. It was something simple. That person who died, you can get over it. You can get another wife. You can get another husband. You can get another child. If, for example, we are talking about grief over the loss of a loved one. But remember, it is a process. It is very different for each and every other person. Everyone experiences it differently. And what we are saying about grief, it can be either emotional, it can be physical, it can be psychological, it can be physical when it comes to someone experiencing that particular loss, where we see that people experience a lot of emotions. For example, they experience emotions of loss, and someone becomes very sad, extremely sad. Others experience emotions like loneliness, because the person that I have lost has really left me alone. It can be a child who has lost their parent, and they feel like right now they are going to be alone in this world. They are left with no one to cater for them, and they are wondering, how are they going to navigate life without the presence of their parent? All these things are emotions that this person is really experiencing. So now when we are talking about emotions that other people get to experience, some people get into shock. Someone is in disbelief. Someone is imagining, is this real exactly what is happening? For example, we see people who lose their loved ones in terms of accidents. There is a recent accident that happened over the children that the car rolled over and then most of their lives were lost. Now imagine those parents who had that news. They were in shock. They were in disbelief that it cannot be happening, that one of my children could also be part of the people who may have lost their lives. Now that person is experiencing shock and they are not believing that their child really has gone. It's part of that process that they lost their life. Also, we see some other people experiencing other emotions. For example, other people get to be very fearful. They have that anxiety. They cannot stop worrying because they don't know what is really happening at that particular point. We have seen all over the news, especially because of that recent conversation that happened when it came to that accident. Many of those people really found themselves that they were worrying too much because they don't know that if their children either survived, they didn't survive, what could have happened, what was the cause, things like that. They are worrying about the driver. They are worrying if they will come back alive. They are worrying if something may have happened. Is it really true? Is the news really saying the right thing? Are the people lying about it? Am I delusional? Am I overthinking about things? So all these things really happen during the time of loss when someone gets to hear about the death of their loved one. Now you who is watching us, now you can imagine the feelings that these parents may have experienced in regards to that loss. I also talked about this issue in terms of loss, where that example of the man who slashed off the necks of the children in Gaba. You can imagine the news, how that parents took it when it came to that part. They may have been shocked. They may have been in disbelief. They may have been worrying, not knowing, is it also my child who is inclusive on those children who are murdered, things like that. So now all those emotions, that is a process that I said. You cannot know what can happen to you in regards to your emotions. These things, you just experience them because it is not something that you prepared yourself for. But also, there is a different feeling that people experience. For example, when you have your loved one who has died, but you have really nursed them for a long period of time, it cannot be the same thing for someone who has just lost that person without even having them get sick. You talk to this person over the phone, or you took them to school, and now they are calling you and they are telling you that this person has died. Really, you could be imagining a lot of things on your way going there to really see for yourself, did this really happen? Now, there are people who have found themselves that they have really nursed this person for the longest time. They have been battling cancer, they have been battling TB, like I've talked about the illnesses. They have been battling with life in terms of their health. And this person dies. Some people get that relief and they're like, I'm glad this person died. That is also an emotion because they have seen this person suffering. They have been in a lot of pain. They have been struggling with their life. They have really held on to life until they let go. And this person feels like, I'm glad that my person died. So all these are emotions that people experience when it comes to grief. Now, someone who's out there, always the things that we always tell the people that lose the things that they love the most, you can get over it. There is another future. That's something very simple. If it was a child that died, but remember this person is experiencing these emotions that are not even understandable to them themselves. Now you who is out there, you're just telling them, these things, you can get over it. If it was a job, you can get another one. If it was in terms of losing money, because people, they get involved in these money scandals and all that, and then they lose a lot of money. And someone is like, I don't know how life is going to go on without me having money. I don't know the life of poverty, and now I'm going to live it. So someone is imagining, how can life go on without me having money? Will it be okay? They are looking at the future as something is already shut down. They are seeing their life shut in front of themselves. So all those are emotions that we are talking about. But most of the times, people, like I said, they misunderstand grief. And these are some of the stages that really happen when it comes to grief. Some people undergo them and then others don't. Because like I've said, it depends on the circumstances. This loss happened. Take an example. One of the things that could happen is shock. Some people get to be shocked by the news that has happened. Your car, you had a lot of goods packed. They are coming from the tax station, and then they are coming now to the shop where you're expecting them. And they tell you the car got involved in an accident and it caught fire. All your goods, all your money that you invested is really lost at that particular point. And you are shocked. You can't believe it. You have made that big loss. You can't imagine how life is going to move. You have, put in all your life savings. You've even borrowed. Now you're imagining what is going to happen after this. So you are in shock. When it comes to losing lives, people, for example, I have seen extents people go to and they're like, no, tayinza kuba wange, oyo siye wange. I think it's another person who resembles them. It is not so and so. By the way, I was from talking to them at one particular point in time. How come they are telling me that they have, died? Smile, they were knocked over by a truck. Smile, they did this. This happened. They fell into a trench. I was from taking my child to school. How come they go to school every day? So someone is in shock. They cannot believe the news they have received. Then others get into anger. And where does this anger come from? At one particular point in time, especially with the children who have parents. Now your parent has died, and you find yourself that at one particular point, your parent called you and they told you, Asya, could you kindly send me some 50,000? I want to go to the hospital and they check on me. And you refuse and you're like, mama yebo watu wabagamba. Every time that is something that they're always saying. Now you start becoming angry towards yourself because at one particular point in time, this person called you. But then either you switched off the phone or you told them, Kandabe, let me see how things come about. But then you didn't return to them. You didn't send them the money. Now this person dies. And then you start, feeling that anger within you. How I wish I was able to do this and that. You get. Then I've also seen situations where people have that anger towards the healthcare providers. They say that nurse did not cater for our person. We came here very early. They were on their things. They were on TikTok. They were doing this. They didn't support our child. They didn't support my mother. I brought my son. I brought my grandmother to the hospital early enough, but they didn't do anything. Now that person is bitter. They are angry because they felt like because they did their best. And this person who they brought this child to should have also done something about the situation. But it's as a result of them being negligent that this person died. So they are bitter. We have seen situations where someone says, don't take me to that hospital because my person died from there. Nze omwana wange yali azaala n'afiireeyo. So don't take me to that hospital because they still have that anger with them because of that situation that happened. Now that is all a process that has to do with grief. Other people find themselves that we are still talking about anger. We have seen scenarios where someone says, I have rich parents, I have rich friends, but I called them, I reached out to them to support me in this situation, and now my person has died, and now they are collecting amabogo. Can you imagine? So someone is angry because they're like, how come when the time I asked for this money, you didn't send it over? Now the person has died, you are saying, I'm going to bring 1 million. So you imagine this person feels that anger towards this person who is saying that, for me, I'm going to bring this amount of money. Yet at that particular point, they needed the money. You weren't able to bring it. We have seen scenarios also where people are angry over different scenarios that this death happened. Take an example, road. Someone says, I hate this kind of road. I hate using Masaka Road. Sorry to say. I hate using Masaka Road because it has killed so-and-so. It took this person. It took the other person. They are still bitter and they are angry because this incident happened and they have still not got on over it. So that is all a process of grief. Now that is the second point that I've said. But there is also bargaining. We have seen scenarios where people are saying, how I wish I was able to do this. Kale singa katonda mpayo obudde. I talked to this person. I didn't tell them that I loved them. I didn't show them that I cared. I didn't show them that, these are some of the things that I could have done. They told me that they wanted to eat chicken. I didn't buy it. Kale, my child wanted to go for this tour. I didn't pay for it. How I wish. You are bargaining because there are some things that you feel like you should have done and you are not able to do them. So all those things, someone is in the process of grieving. And I usually hear these things at the barrier. Kale sinka, how I wish this happened. People are grieving, and that is why they are putting out all those words, because there are some of the things that they wish they would have done and they were not able to do them. At one point in time, we have to let people to do all these things because they are going through a process. Like I said earlier on, it is not a fixed process that everyone has to experience whatever the other person experienced. It is different for each one of us. And then others get into depression, where someone is sad, they lose interest in things that they used to do. Someone used to wake up very early in the morning, go take the children to school, make breakfast, put on their best dress, and then go to work. Now, they no longer have interest over work. They're like, why am I working? So this person now is experiencing depression. Others even look at themselves and are like, how I wish so and so did not die. Nganze yafudemu. So all those words that we are saying, people are going through a process of grief. How I wish nze yafudemu. How I wish they didn't die. Ayinza ati okubanga yeyanso seyo. So let us not take those things for granted, because people are going through a process of grief, and therefore they are saying these things. They are talking about, they are letting out emotions, things that they have kept in themselves, that they are really hurt. Others, they find themselves, they can't sleep. They don't eat for over a good period of time. They isolate themselves. They stay alone in the house. And many of times we have even seen people dying, yet they are still young. And we are wondering, what could it be? But because this person really, at one point in time, they didn't have a chance. And I've also seen a situation where sometimes men suffer with this process of grief. Why? Because they are not allowed to experience these emotions. Oli musajja guma, but this person has lost their loved one. They have lost their firstborn. They have lost their dad, their mom. And they are told, where is porridge? People have not eaten this. People have not done this. How much money do we have on the account? Now the casket. Where are the priests? All that process, you are not allowing this person to go through that process of grief. Someone would have wanted to shout it out. Someone would have wanted to explode and, bring out all that anger they feel, that emotion, that feeling of sadness, that a lot of emotions. But this person has not been allowed to express themselves, because everyone, the responsibility is over them, and they are wondering, what can I do next? Everything is being asked from them. Now, the last level that someone should go through is to get to that part of acceptance, where someone gets to see and understand that, yes, the loss has happened. I have lost my loved one. I have lost my job. I lost my life in regards to my health. Now I'm sick. But how do I live this life again without this person? How do I go on with life when I don't have a job? Are there other skills that I have that I can be able to, work around on to be able to have my life going? So there are 5 stages of grief. And if you didn't know about them, then you know about them right now, because we are letting you know about this information, because most of us don't support people, just not because we don't want to support them, but just because we also don't know that these are some of the things that people are going through. There are some myths that we know about grief that people usually say. You should not cry. It is easy to go over it. It is a small thing. Children don't grieve. They don't understand these things. Men, you are too strong. You cannot cry when other people are watching you. Everyone is looking at you. Those are myths that we are talking about when it comes to grief. Because we don't know. We don't know any better. But how do we support people who are grieving? First of all, listen to them. Let them experience this process. If someone is crying, let them cry it out. If someone is shouting it out, let them. I have seen people who say, tomukiriza kukaba, don't, Please, let people cry. Let someone say those words that they wanted to say out. Because people say, andeke dani, akozatya, banange. Tarekanira barara agenda kuba making okuberanga they feel uncomfortable. Let them be. Because all those emotions, if they are kept inside, they're going to be bottled up. And we want to see that this person doesn't bottle up emotions. They are putting them out there so that at one point in time, they don't get stuck with these emotions and they don't know where to put them. For some people who are with these people who have lost their loved ones, sometimes you don't have to say anything. Let this person go through the pain. Don't try to fix the pain. Don't tell them that, no, it is going to be okay. It is not okay. Because it is not okay. They have lost someone. So let them try to experience those emotions. Don't try to fix the pain. You've cried too much. It is now okay that you can rest a bit. You've done this. Let them do whatever they can do, because whatever they are doing, it is helping them to reduce on that burden they're carrying. For other things, we have seen people crying over things that my person was not cared for. The priest did not come. This and that. Try to be that supporting block for this person during that time. If they need this support, do those chores that can help them. Don't leave them at that particular point. Stay with them. Hold them. Be there for them. Assure them that you are going to be there, and indeed be there. We have seen scenarios where people say, and you are not anywhere to be seen after the burial. Your phone, even when you are called, you don't even pick up. But you've said you're going to be there. And these people hold on to that information for the longest. And they feel like, at least if mom has gone, at least there is auntie so-and-so. She will be able to do so. She will be able to stand in. But you are promising things that you cannot be able to keep up to. So I request that don't promise at that particular time. Let things flow. Because you are also adding to the burden that this person is carrying. You're saying, things are going to be okay, but you are nowhere to be seen at any one particular point. So you, who is a person who is experiencing this grief, and these are the emotions that you are battling with, because we say grief at one particular point in time, there is that part of grieving. And everyone, you are allowed to grieve. But then when it exceeds at least 6 months, 1 year, one has gone over 2 years, 3, 5, and beyond, then it is going beyond. You really need support. So whoever is watching us, we can imagine what you are really going through in terms of you losing that loved one. Because we know that you loved that person very much. You liked that thing that you loved a lot. It could have been your job. It was really paying very well. It was helping you be productive. But now, sometimes it's time to let go. If you feel like you cannot be in position to let go, kindly reach out to a professional who can support you to be able to go through this process and navigate it. Because at the end of the day, these emotions have to be felt. They have to be lived. And don't listen to people who are telling you it is going to be okay, because really it is not okay and you need the support you can get. So if you find yourself that because of this grief, you can't sleep, you can't eat, you have changed in terms of behavior, you are no longer interested in the things that you used to do, kindly seek help. Seek support. If you want to talk about it, share with the friends. Talk to someone that you feel like you can be able to trust to be able to support you. With everyone who is going through loss, we are here to support you. Go through this process until you reach the time of acceptance. Thank you for listening. I have been your host, Asiat, and I hope to see you in other episodes where we share about the life things that happen to all of us and affect us in various ways when it comes to mental health. Thank you for listening. See you there.